There once was a diamond thief who had waited years to steal the biggest diamond in the diamond district. He had watched it from a distance, secretly hoping someone would buy it so that he could steal it from them. And one day, a gentleman in a suit and a hat walked into the shop and purchased the largest diamond in the diamond district. The thief observed his every step and felt his pulse beat faster. Finally, the moment was here. He followed the man through all the streets and tried every trick he knew to steal the diamond, but nothing worked. Then the gentleman who had bought the diamond boarded a train, and the thief slipped in behind him and searched again everywhere in the diamond buyer's coat to try to find the diamond, with the precision of a master, but still nothing. And by the time they reached the final stop on the train, the thief was shaken. The diamond was nowhere to be found. So he followed the man onto the platform, frustrated, exhausted, and bewildered. And finally, he stepped forward and confessed to the diamond buyer. "Sir, I'm sorry to tell you, but I am a professional diamond thief. And I spent all day trying to steal the diamond I know that you just bought. And I've used every skill that I have, and I can't find it. And I just need to know, where did you hide it?" The gentleman looked at him and smiled and said, "I hid it in the only place I knew you would never look for it." Now, my friend, where do you think he hid the diamond? I will leave the question with you as we go deeper into this episode, because you may have hidden your own diamond in the very same place. And what if you've been looking for something your entire life that was actually never missing? Just hidden in the only place you didn't think of looking for it? Because what I see in almost everyone that entered this healing path with ayahuasca and healing and transformation in general is that they're moving just a little bit too fast to actually find what they're looking for. They're a little bit ahead of their own timing, a little bit ahead of their own body, a little bit ahead of their own true nature and truth. And when you move faster than the parts of you that actually matters, you might miss the only thing you came here to find. Because when we step into the ayahuasca healing journey, there are three distinct facets of these journeys that you will move through. And they don't happen in a straight line. They're a spiral. You will visit them again and again. And those are the healing journey, the integration journey, and the transformational journey. And today I want to share with you more about the healing journey, because healing is the inward movement. It's where we step into our courage and surrender, where we feel our vulnerability, we step into acceptance, and where we feel the things we couldn't feel before, maybe even refused to feel. It's like we enter this cocoon, an inner cocoon of healing, where we let ourselves be still and meet the slowest moving parts inside of us that might be vulnerable or hurting or tender. And we also get to meet something beyond that that is so powerful, which is truly a real diamond within this work. And if you listen to the Hermit episode, this is the place where you can get stuck in your own shell. And real hermits, when they are hurt and they need healing, they actually have to do their healing process before they can move into a new shell. If not, they may suffocate in their old shell. So healing is important to honor for hermits and for humans. And the second part of the journey that we enter after we've been on our healing journey is integration. That's when we bring what happened inside of us into action. You're inside the cocoon still, but now you're starting to flap your wings like a butterfly to break out of the cocoon. You're bringing light from all your healing with ayahuasca and yourself. You're bringing it into an alchemy with yourself and your life. You start flexing your power. You start flexing your choice. You start expanding out of your old shell, and you're getting ready to fly and move into your new shell. And this is where we make conscious choices. We're no longer just passive and surrendering and feeling and in our inner process. We're bringing that inner force out. So integration is where your inner world and your outer world begin to match. It's where the new parts of you begin to connect with your daily life. Then there's the third phase, which is called transformation, of course. And transformation is actually not something it's a natural occurrence, something that blossoms naturally. From the moment you've been in the cocoon and you've been healing and you've been bringing action, you're actually transforming naturally. It's simply the natural alchemy when you're healing and you're integrating, you're transforming. And in transformation, I see so many people stepping into service. They start using their gifts, they start bringing these gifts to other people. And I rarely, over the last 10 years, have met anyone on the ayahuasca path who haven't discovered creative gifts, artistical gifts, musical gifts, healing gifts. Most of the people I met 10 years ago, they are all on this path of service, either as musicians and artists and healers and coaches and therapists. So it's very natural that people step into service after walking this journey because there's a sense of overflow within you. You're just cultivating so much of that good energy that you have more than enough to share with others as well. And today I want to dive even deeper into the healing part of this journey with ayahuasca because I see there's a lot of misunderstanding around this healing phase. People also imagine that everyone who comes to an ayahuasca retreat that they are in a crisis, shattered, falling apart, traumatized beyond recognition, and that's not true at all. It's also not what the research say. And it's definitely not what I have seen after 10 years at retreats with more than 1,000 participants. Half of the room is usually very high functioning, highly educated, and they are just curious and they're not collapsing in their lives. They just know that there's something deeper going on, or they have this curiosity for spirituality, for something that isn't only intellectual. And usually there's something that isn't working in their life, like a relationship or a purpose they can't touch or a pattern they have outgrown. And then there's the other half. People like me who come in carrying something really raw, grief, trauma, heartbreak, confusion, exhaustion, physical illness. And for me, it was exactly that. Like, I felt I didn't have any other options. I tried so many different things. And I was just hoping that it worked because therapy was definitely not enough for me. Coaching was not enough for me. And I felt that the pain inside of me was bigger than the fear of what might happen in the ceremony. So no matter what kind of group you are in when you arrive into this ayahuasca work, ayahuasca will always put everyone at the same doorway first, which is healing. We all have something to heal. And ayahuasca is the teacher that works on every layer: physical, spiritual, mental, emotional, ancestral, inner child, all of it. And this is why ayahuasca is a powerful medicine and not a drug. She will never give you the same process twice. You could drink ayahuasca every week for 50 years, and I promise you, you won't, because it's not something you can really get addicted to. Um, but even if you drink it every single week for 50 years, like some of the shamans that I work with, they will always say the same thing. Oh, I barely know ayahuasca. Because no ceremony is the same. And even if you start seeing some of the same architecture and you start understanding some of the visual language, the processes are always new. So healing, no matter what stage and experience you're in, is always about surrendering. Healing always requires depth. And when we step into that phase, there are a few things that we need to actually understand. For me, the whole healing journey, it starts with slowing down. And we can break the word slow into four letters: SLOV. And for me, it stands for surrender, listen, open up, and warrior. Because healing is slow. It's not weak, it's just slow. And slow is one of the hardest things for people who live fast in a world that is always speeding up. So when you are on your healing journey, the number one thing to consider and have as a principle is surrender. Because healing requires surrender, especially healing with ayahuasca. And surrender is not something you can mentally just prepare yourself for. It's not a mental checklist. Because surrender, a true surrender, doesn't live in your mind. It's an attitude that goes beyond the mind. It's an approach of diving into the unknown naked and just trusting the universe and the guide that is ayahuasca. And that is for me why it is so important to work with one teacher throughout my life. Because with ayahuasca, I feel I can surrender deeper and deeper year by year. I can visit things that are really difficult because I know I'm safe with her and I trust her. And she also knows where my limits are. And I know she will push me to my limit, but she will never hurt me or scare me She is like this beautiful grandmother that really respects me. And if we're without the surrender, we usually just stay in the mind discussing highly interesting visionary ideas with our own spiritual ego. Surrender is like jumping into the cold cosmic pool. And ayahuasca is that grandmother that sits next to you at that pool saying, "You can jump in, my child. It's not that cold." And she won't push you in. She's a safe grandmother. Ayahuasca, surrender and healing, it's also not about doing. It's not about who can swim the longest, or it's not about moving dramatically or being in a spiritual aerobic class. It's actually about not distracting yourself. It's about sitting or staying still so that the medicine can access you and you can access yourself. And for me personally, when the deep healing process starts, the spirits, they will always come and say the same thing. David, you need to sit up. You need to lie on your back, never on the side and never face down. They want access to my chest, my stomach, and the feel around me, and especially the solar plexus. And they want all of these energy fields to be free so that you can purge freely and nothing gets stuck. And once that work starts, the instructions are always very simple. Be still, surrender, don't move, don't think, don't interfere, just trust. So, deep healing in ayahuasca for me is about receiving. You don't have to think and figure it out. You don't even need your journal in the ceremony room. Relax your mind. Just surrender. You don't need the framework, the 5 step plan. You don't need to analyze or remember anything. Just know that the spirits are working with you. And honestly, 10 years into this, and I literally clap like a happy spirit seal when they arrive because I'm so filled with gratitude and I'm so honored that they will be in my presence. Your body knows exactly what to do. Your soul knows exactly what to do. Ayahuasca knows exactly what to do. You can relax and surrender even deeper. And this is why surrender is so sacred. You are dropping into the hands of the medicine, into the hands of the universe, because you're letting go of control. And it can feel like a part of you is dying, even though all of you is not dying. And this is where some people they go in loops and ego dissolutions and disappearing. But the worst thing that you can do is actually starting to fight the process. People who fight their own process experience the most difficulty, and it can be a very humbling experience. But as soon as you breathe and relax and stop fighting yourself, everything calms down. It's almost like if you see a tiger that is trying to eat you, just jump into the tiger's mouth because if you're gone, problem is gone, tiger is gone. And every shaman will probably say the same thing: relax, breathe, be gentle, don't run. So that's the first part of the slow acronym. And the second part is listen. Not just to the visions and the mental stories, but listening to your body, to your heart. How is your heart today, by the way? I hope it's good. I hope it's smiling. How you're listening to your soul, how you listen to the plant teachers and the spirits around you. If you keep talking in your head during the healing, you will cut off the most important access point we have, because your mind is usually the very thing that you're actually trying to heal and get a break from. So it's not the most reliable guide. And always ask yourself after a ceremony, how much of this time was I in my mind? Because it should be as little as possible. So if you're just in this mental chatting mode, then you were listening to a radio channel that was not very helpful or might even block the signal to the spirits and to the ayahuasca and to your body. And the spirits, at least in my experience, they will wait until you stop running around and are ready to listen. And they can wait 500 more lifetimes. So pay attention to the mind. And if you can't turn it off, connect deeper to your body. Drink another cup of the medicine. Surrender deeper. And use your body as a doorway to the medicine inside of you. When I'm in surrendering and listening mode, I am just lean back, steady, calm, and I see visions and I let myself just be guided by them. I do nothing. Any thoughts, I have stopped the visions in my experience. And my job is to stay calm and steady and thoughtless for as long as I can to see how deep I can go before I start resisting or moving or distracting myself or adding judgments or wanting to dance or mind chatter or marmalade, as the shamans will call it. It's like diving into the pool of your unconscious. And if you keep swimming at the surface, talking to yourself, if you're not focused enough to take that deep breath and be guided down into the unknown water, there is less potential for the healing journey. And that is why we also need to stay open. The third letter in slow is the O. And open means having a tiny, non judgmental space for a new truth to be birthed or to be seen. Because most of our lives, we try to fit all the new knowledge we have and insights into the old container of our understanding and our narratives. So someone shares something to us, and we're like, that fits into that identity that I have, and it fits into that spiritual belief that I have. So being open means stop insisting that your story or your narrative buckets are the total truth. Stop insisting that you are your problems, that all the games that you're playing right now are all yours, that you came up with them, that they are individual to you, that you're unique with your problems, or that the universe developed through billions of years so that it can just throw a stone in your head and make you suffer. That all that you're carrying is yours to carry. Because every week people come to me with the same pattern. They tell their story as if the identity they built around the problem is the only reality that exists. And I ask them, is this a real trauma we need to heal, or is this a game you're playing and you want me to believe it with you? Or they're telling me about their problems and what they want in their life. And then I ask them, do you work for your problems or for your solutions? Because you're truly practicing making sure your problems has the most power, attention, and support. And very often they realize, wow, I've been playing this game for many years and it's not really me. And that's the awareness and that openness we're looking for, right? It's the part of the healing journey that requires that openness so that your story might not be the ultimate truth. It has a lot of power, but it's not the ultimate truth. Because one of the greatest addictions that we have in our lives is our addiction to our identity, our addiction to our own narrative and our own stories, because we're all storytellers. But we need that openness on the healing journey because there might be two opposite truths that needs to exist in the same room with you. Your identity might not actually be who you are or who you say you are. Your problems might be outdated and actually quite boring for you. And you might have outgrown them also without realizing it. So openness means that there is just a door available for mystery, for magic, for something new. And if you believe that there's no possibility for anything else, if there's no openness, then there's no possibility for healing and partnership and abundance and peace. Then you have already claimed that future. You close that door. And openness is that seed. It's that smallest little willingness we have inside of us, and we can even call it hope, that maybe our life can be bigger or softer or more loving or more aligned than anything that we can even imagine right now. And the fourth part is warrior. Because for me, everyone who's on this path that I meet, they are true warriors, like the bravest form of warriors. Because trauma will tell you to armor up, to prepare for impact, to tighten. And healing asks the exact opposite of us, to open, to soften, to feel. And in a room full of people with no guarantee of what comes next, we drink this medicine. So for me, that is real warrior work. It's the real spiritual gladiators because it takes courage to open up a heart that has been broken. And it takes tremendous trust to take off the armor. So when life is chaotic and triggering you and asking you to step back into old coping mechanism and you stay calm in the madness, you're a true warrior. And some of the healing processes we go into require this raw, deep inner strength. And for me, I've had to stand in the warrior stance many times, especially in ceremonies where I'm not fighting, I'm not pushing, I'm not forcing, I'm just standing still in my power. One of the psychologists in our training and on our team is calling it the warrior pose, where you're still and grounded and not collapsing, not panicking, and not trying to dominate the process. You're just holding your ground. Because the moment you start fighting the feeling, fighting the entity, fighting the spiral, fighting the memory, you're starting to create resistance, and resistance makes everything harder. So standing still in your own power, that's a part of a very powerful medicine. And what I want everyone on this path to know that are doing this work with ayahuasca is that you're not just a 50-year-old or a 30-year-old ego that just was born in this lifetime. You're an ancient being with millions of lifetimes of expansion. And that part of you, your miraculous, slowest, steady, inner or higher self, you know yourself, your soul is not a tourist here. It's not on a dress rehearsal. It's not freaking out. That part of you has so much wisdom and experience and power. And we all have the opportunity to connect to that part of us, to go deeper and find a deeper center. I found this part almost by accident because I lived in a very traumatized home. I grew up in three different families. And because my surroundings were so unstable and abusive, I spent most of my time with goats in nature. And I got to really connect to my intuition and to this part of me that was always calm. So if I was bullied or abused, I would hear this voice, this inner voice tell me, hey, just relax. They don't know who you are. It's all good. And it would literally give me instructions that sometimes would sound very dangerous or difficult, but I would do them anyway. And it would always give me an incredible, magical result. And it was this very mature inner voice that I found that was just so special to me. And I know in my heart that we all have that deeper, truer self inside of us that has been here many rodeos and has a lot of experience if we just create the time and the space to listen to that part of us. So these four letters, they form slow. Now I want to go a little bit deeper into why I call this acronym slow, because slow is so much more than just the letters for surrendering and listening and being open. And being a warrior turns powerlessness back into your power and your presence. Slow is about understanding the difference between fast energy and slow energy, because that difference is everything in this work. Just imagine this. You're running late for the bus one day or a train, or worse, late at the airport, and you're stressed out. You're speed walking like a maniac. Your heart is racing. You're annoyed at yourself. And when you finally get onto the plane or the bus, you sit down, but you're still running on the inside of your mind. Your heart is still racing. Then you look at your phone and you see an invoice you forgot or a message about something that is stressing you. And now you're in fast moving energy. Everything gets annoying. Every noise is suddenly too loud. Or picture two people that are arguing at the sidewalk. If they're very heated, are they arguing fast or slow? They're screaming. Their words are going quicker and quicker. It's loud, it's chaotic, it's frantic. And most of us live in this fast forward motion. We wake up and we already feel too late to the train of our own life. We yell quickly, we talk quickly inside our heads, we react quickly, and we go from 0 to 100 immediately. Very few of us stand here annoyed or hurt or angry at someone and say it slowly, like, I hate you, in a soft, slow voice. No. When we're triggered, it's a rapid fire, fast, sharp, immediate. It's the fire energy, it's the survival mode. And I'm sure you know your fastest moving parts, the ones that are running ahead of you, stressing, anxious, controlling, trying to protect you, or not feeling enough. And if you call forward those parts right now, I wonder what it is that they want, if it has a positive intention. And where is it that they're actually running? If they're ahead of you, like, do they actually know where they're going? Or even more interesting, do they know where they're coming from? Because where we come from is also how we cultivate the energy we create in the future. How we get there is how we will be there. So many of us, we start fighting these fastest moving parts of us. We say, I need to do stress management. I need to do anger management. Like, we need to learn to manage these fast moving parts. But let's look at this from a different angle. And let's start talking about your slowest moving parts. Because when we're loving, when we're moving at the speed of our own truth and the speed of our own heart, the whole system slows down. Think of how you speak to a cute little baby, or a baby goat, or a baby dog, or a donkey, whatever is your favorite. How your energy just gently moves and is more centered. You don't go, hey, you're so cute, you're so bored, well, ages, blah, 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 blah. You are not a caffeinated squirrel. You soften, you melt, you say, hi, look at you, little cutie. That's the difference between the fast self and the slow self. Fast energy is survival energy. The fast state is the sympathetic system, speed, threat, activation. And slow energy is nourishment. It's the soil where your real life can grow. And the slow state is the parasympathetic system, the rest, the feeling, the connection. And if you live fast all the time, you eventually burn your own life down. You become a walking forest fire, or you become a little racing boat skimming on the surface of the ocean of your own life, never dropping in, never landing, never feeling. There isn't enough internal space to actually have a real life experience. And when both states gets overwhelmed, the system drops into dorsal freeze and everything shuts down. And the truth is, most of these fast moving parts inside of us aren't even us. They are our survival parts. They are our coping mechanisms. They are the games that we play with ourselves. They are parts that promoted themselves to be a project manager of our life. And they say, go late, move faster, get ahead, fix this, control this, improve that, be better. And those are not your enough parts. Those are your trauma parts. And we confuse them with our true self because they are very loud and they are very fast and they're very present all the time. And this is where our awareness becomes crucial. When I'm in ceremony or integration work, I see the same pattern every single time. Clients walk in 5 steps ahead of themselves, already exhausted and anxious. Their bodies are literally leaning forward as if they're trying to get to the next moment before it even arrives. They've set the difficulty level of their own life so high that they always feel like they're losing. They drown in their own purpose, their own expectations, their own pressure to figure out their gifts or step into service or be of use. So they think fast, they talk fast, they push fast, and they're overusing the masculine energy, controlling everything inside of them and producing so many seeds in their mind that has no soil to land, no feminine matter to be cultivated and grow in. They're running their healing journey at the same speed that they were running in their trauma journey, and they're wondering why healing isn't working. It's like watching a train blasting past me at 300 miles an hour, and my job is to stay there and say, let's slow down to meet our slowest moving parts. Because the body cannot live like that. And the moment I say, let's slow down to meet our slowest moving parts, most clients and students, they always look at me and say, I don't have time for that. That part needs to keep up with me. It needs to speed up. I don't have time to cry now. I don't have time to feel my shame. I don't have time to fall apart. They assume that the slowest moving parts are just wounded parts, sadness, grief, and shame. And yes, some of that is there. They stand in a circle around what's even truer inside of you, an even slower and stiller part of you. And there is something else in those slow parts that they never met because they're too busy outrunning themselves. And that's actually where the magic in the medicine is. Little by little, through meditation, breath, ceremony, integration work, they finally begin to connect with the slowest moving parts and everything starts to shift. One of my clients said now, this week, after 6 months of working with me, I thought the slowest moving parts were all just emotions, the shame, the grief, the anger. But now that I've actually stopped to meet them, I realized that the slowest moving parts inside of me were actually the real me. I've been running ahead of myself my entire life, trying to find myself. And the whole time, my real self was never in front of me or behind me. It was just slow, still, and steady, waiting inside of me. And it's so beautiful when someone realizes this from their own embodied experience. Your faucet moving parts are for many our trauma parts. They are coping and they are looping. And your slowest moving parts are also your truth. They don't live at your real pace. They don't audition. They don't sprint. They don't try to catch your attention. They don't perform for your Instagram. Your real self is steady, untouched by your story, untouched by this lifetime, not trying to fit in, not trying to speed up, and not trying to solve your identity crisis. It's just waiting for you to get tired of running in circles. Your real self doesn't chase a purpose like a dog chasing a squirrel. Your real self can lie in a hammock all afternoon doing nothing without guilt. And your real self can sit in the sun and watch the leaves move because it doesn't measure worth by productivity. So here's the key. Your slowest moving parts always carry the truth of what needs to be healed. Your trauma might happen fast, but your healing will happen slow. And when your trauma speeds you up, you panic, you obsess, you compare, you have pressure, you have loops. Healing slows you down. And your healed self is already inside of you. Your fully healed, complete, competent, sacred self is right here inside of you right now. You don't need ayahuasca to find it even. You can just slow down and there it is. It never went anywhere. Healing removes the blockages that hides your real self. So when ayahuasca slows you down and you suddenly feel tired and soft and emotional, it's not weakness, it's not a detour, it's contact. Because usually the first slow parts that show up when we slow down are the hurt ones. The inner child saying, "Hey, why did you run ahead of me? And why is our life so boring? And why don't we play anymore?" The anger saying, "Hey, why are you not expressing me? I'm trying to protect you here." And the sadness coming in saying, "I've been waiting for years to cry. I can't hold all of these tears and emotions in anymore. I need to let it out. Please let me let it out." When you let these parts catch up with you, integration happens naturally. You don't have to create wholeness. You just have to stop outrunning it. So when we're in this healing phase, you actually have a lot of power. People think healing is just surrendering to whatever comes and sitting there in a corner crying and letting all these scary emotions take over, like you just have to be dragged through the mud. I actually once felt like a spiritual roadkill hit by an 18 wheeler of my own karma and expectations, but it's not true. You have a lot of power if you choose to slow down and actually meet what's happening instead of letting everything boil over like a pot left on the stove while you're running around the kitchen looking for other ingredients. If you slow down right now, even literally right now listening to this, you can expand your consciousness. You can expand the vessel through which you experience life. And even with just hearing that, usually you can feel a release in your system because your breath, it governs your mind. And you can use your breath right now to slow down your body, slow down your nervous system, and slow down your process. So you have more capacity to feel and actually be with everything that's moving through you. When I slow down, I'm actually healing faster. If I rush myself ahead, I lose access to the healing powers that I have because I'm not in me. I'm ahead of me. I'm out in those fragmented pieces that I haven't integrated yet because I haven't slowed down yet. They're also waiting for me to slow down. Because your fast self is the one that learned to run, to survive, to be productive, to be useful, to be something else than your true self. And your slow self, it stayed behind with everything you didn't have the capacity to feel. And when you slow down, that part can finally be met. And inside that part is everything, all the pieces you didn't want to be, all the emotional reality you've been avoiding, but also all the gold, all the medicine, all the truth. And this is why slowing down is not optional in the healing phase. It's not a lifestyle choice. It's not a trend. Healing is not a cute word here. Healing is an attitude towards life. It's a way of being. And if you look at the phone today, look at the world, everything is going faster and faster. You might want to scroll through 1,000 videos in a day and gearing your nervous system into a pace that has never existed in the history of humanity. But you can also turn it off. You can slow down. And as you do, you create an inner balance and harmony because you're returning to your natural rhythm. You're reconnecting with your true slow nature. And that part of you has zero interest in running all the time. And a lot of people that are on this path, they also confuse that fast is successful. And I had to deal with that illusion for 10 years myself. For so long, I thought my high functioning fast self would be my successful self. But now I actually see it as my spiritual broke self, even a bankrupted spiritual self, because my spiritual self is always full and complete, ready for a spiritual siesta to calm down. And the people running the fastest are usually running from a traumatized self in disguise. The most successful people I know are also the most relaxed one. They're present, they're enjoying, they're living, and we can do both. You can have a gorgeous, abundant, and amazing business, deep relationships, and move slow as a turtle and enjoy every moment. And I've been testing this myself with this podcast. It's only 2 months old, but I've never had this kind of response. Running a business for 20 years, doing so many things on social media, doing webinars, and God knows how many emails. I've done only 8 episodes, and I've had more messages, more emails, more clients, and more real connections with people all around the world than anything else that I ever done. Not by performing or pretending, just by being me and by slowing down, just doing 1 episode a week. And also by trusting that my slowest moving parts are also my most powerful parts, and they're deep enough and authentic enough to reach the right people. So when you move from that slow space, that steady space, it might look unpredictable or too relaxed for others. But for me, it's the sign that you're integrating from wholeness, from completion, and you're not trying to impress anyone anymore. Because what I find the most interesting from moving from my slowest self is this inner trust that I have, that I am on my path. I don't have to be confused. I don't have to run ahead of myself screaming, "Where are we going?" Because I know that everything that belongs to my path is already here. The diamonds that I'm looking for, I don't even have to create them and dig them out of the ground. They are already laying there on the path waiting for me. As long as I'm walking on my path, I will find them. And you listening right now to my voice, you are one of those diamonds on my path. Because being of service to you in any way, shape, or form makes me smile and shine from the inside of my soul and my heart. And the best part is that I don't have to chase this. I don't have to build a staircase to it. I don't have to stress myself. I just have to stay in my truth and walk in my truth slowly. And this is when you also start to realize, when you slow down, that your slow self holds all the information you need. It knows what was hurt. It knows what was ignored. It knows what matters. It knows what needs to be rebuilt, what needs to be forgiven. And it will never rush you through any of it. Healing is so slow because the parts that heal also move slowly. They never agreed to the pace of any life that is at the pace of society, and never agreed for pressure or performance or pushing through or constant productivity. It's just a different energy. And your true self did not come here to be auditioning for this world or for performing for social media. So for most of the fast stuff that we do, it's for survival. It's fast because it has to be fast. And the slow parts, they are never behind. They're not broken. They're not the problem. We always see them as sort of the vulnerable, boring, slow moving parts that we have to sort of wait for. Come on, are you joining me for this next adventure? But they're not broken. They're not the problem. They're carrying the information and the energetic charge that the rest of your system needs. They're carrying the timing that your body trusts. And they're also carrying the gifts and the healing and the rest of all the diamonds that you've been searching for in every ceremony or every healing journey. So, what if the treasure isn't actually in the expansion or in the knowing more or in the next realization that you're waiting for, but in the part of you that you refuse to turn toward? What if the diamond was never hidden in the height of your journey, but in the one place you didn't want to look? The part of you that refuses to move until you're finally ready to meet it. Because when ayahuasca slows you down, when you suddenly feel tired and quiet and heavy and deeply emotional, it's not a regression, it's not a falling apart. It's the moment your slow self, your real self, is stepping into the room. And that is your slow self that begins to synchronize with the rest of you. And in that moment, everything starts aligning. Because ayahuasca is the medicine of alignment. And now you know why. So that's the first phase I wanted to share with you in this healing integration transformational journey. The healing journey is the cocoon where we stop outrunning all of these parts of us and we start unifying ourselves and letting ourselves feel and accept every part of us, especially the slowest moving parts. So if I now tell you that the part of you that you have been avoiding, the slowest moving parts, the inconvenient part, the one that you kept pushing past, is actually your real self that you've been looking for, what would you do? Would you slow down long enough to meet it, or would you speed up in the way most people do? Because here's the truth that most people in the spiritual world are not saying. You rushing is not ambition, and your I'm late or I'm behind or I'm not enough yet, that constant pressure, that's the trauma running the show, not your true self. That's your survival self in action, and it's moving faster than your healing and your integration. So if that's you subscribing to that game and that energy, then unsubscribe and hit the slow button. Because the part of you that moves slowly, the part you ignore, override, judge, or run ahead of, that is the part that is carrying your actual, real identity, your true self, your gifts, your timing, your wholeness, your truth, and your deepest healing. It's the part holding the diamond you've been searching for through every ceremony and every breakthrough and every purge and every tear. And it's been in plain sight the whole time, inside a part of you that you see as too slow or too emotional or too inconvenient or too spiritual. It's the subtle truth, the whispers that comes from your heart, your intuition, your soul. Because what if the reason you feel behind in your life is because you've been running ahead of the only part of you that knows who you are and also knows where you're going? What if your exhaustion, your searching, your hunger for clarity aren't signs that you are broken, but signs that you abandoned the part of you that holds everything you were trying to find? What if the diamond, the real treasure, is sitting inside a very part you've been avoiding for years? Because if you've been searching for wholeness and purpose, your voice, your gifts, there's a real chance you left them behind with the part of you that moves the slowest. Because in the story of the diamond buyer, he didn't hide the diamond in his own pocket. Maybe you realized he was really smart and he slipped it into the thief's pocket, right by the thief's own heart, that inner pocket of his own jacket, knowing it was the only place he would never look for it. And most of us, we do the same thing. We search everywhere else. We chase everything outside us, while the thing we're so desperate to find has been sitting against our own heart the entire time, in the part of us that we keep outrunning. So, my friend, feel free to answer in the comments where you thought the diamond buyer hid the diamond and where you have tried to find it on your journey. I hope you will slow down and meet the diamond inside of you. And I truly appreciate if you would consider giving this podcast a rating so more people can find this show. See you in the next episode where we will dive into the integration part of the healing journey with ayahuasca. That's what I got for you this week, my friend. And if you feel called to go deeper into your own integration work, I offer 3 journeys. I lead an integration circle for people walking this path with ayahuasca. And I just completed finishing a 6-month integration circle with therapists, coaches, retreat facilitators, and those that are going deep on this journey. You can sign up at davidvox.com. And when you're ready for the second journey, that's the celebration circle. It is 6 months of celebrating your life and your gifts. And the first reaction many people have is, why on earth would I want to do that? And the answer is quite simple. How you get there is how you will be there. If you are constantly healing and hustling and hiding and performing or proving, do you think that once you arrive there, you will suddenly feel free? Because I see that waiting to celebrate until after you achieved a new job, had more ayahuasca, or fixed your relationship is not the answer. Celebration is not the reward. It's the rehearsal. It's the daily act of self-respect, self-honor, and gratitude. It's the integration of who you already are. And when you learn to celebrate who you are now, every future version of you arrives already welcomed. And when we refuse to celebrate, it becomes our unfinished work. When you learn to honor the ordinary, to bow to your own brilliance, to see your gifts and story as sacred, something inside of you shifts. You stop chasing your life and you start inhabiting it. You start living it. And every other part of your world begins to rise to meet you. Your relationship, your voice, your joy, even your income. Because when you live in celebration, you attract a life that celebrates you back. And the 6-month celebration circle is built for that. 24 facets, 24 live mirrors. Every call shows you a different angle of who you are, what you project, what you hide, what you're not seeing. And it ends with the celebration ritual where 20 mirrors reflects your gifts back to you. Your only job is to receive. And maybe for the first time ever, you will see your full, faceted, multidimensional, gifted, abundant self. And then there's the third journey, Sacred Impact. And this is the one for leaders in the transformational and spiritual field who have this great vision, depth and sensitivity, but they struggle to bring their service into tangible form here on earth. I've guided and coached over 5,000 leaders in the last 15 years, helping them create platforms and offerings that comes from a real alignment. something that honors their integrity, their sensitivity, their pacing. And for 6 months, we meet as a group of 10. We bring your platform, your ideas, your service, your medicine into structure, into form, and into a rhythm that actually grows the tree you've been cultivating and produces the fruit you've been trying to reach for years. It's planting these seeds in a container where they can grow and bringing it into resonance and clarity, and then watching the fruits of this sacred work manifest in a way that finally feels true to who you are. You can find more information about these 3 journeys on davidfox.com. See you next week, my friend.